Hello, hello, and welcome everyone. This is Teany, Hidalgo, and the beautiful.
Heatherparis.
And today is the Purpose Driven Revolution Thursdays at 9 o'clock. We are officially live on Facebook. So, Heather, if you want to share the new
Hey,
one,
there's something else too, today. Something special, I think.
something special? Is something special going on? People,
Something special going on today.
special.
It's Valentine's
Oh, snaps! It is Valentine's Day.
Day. Sure is.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Happy Valentine's Day, Teany.
Oh, happy Valentine's Day to you. I love you.
I love you too. Mwah.
Mwah, to you too. All right, y'all, give us 2 seconds. We were having some technical difficulties, and so we're gonna just go off and share our post in a couple of places because we had to reset our stuff, and it's all.
I did that. I'm all set now.
You're all set now. Okay, you're gonna give me one quick second right now so that I can share this. Thank you guys for your patience as y'all come on board. So Heather is like the best, right? Let me explain.
You got some splaining to
Let
do.
me explain. So she and I have become friends. Obviously, we have our lovely coaching background in common with the delicious and wonderful and smart and just amazing Tony Robbins. But we've also just become friends as New Yorkers, as like comadres in practice, as like all these beautiful things. So I love having Heather on my show anytime I can grab her.
And I love being here. So thank you.
Thank you for joining. Join us live. All right. So I'm also going to post this on YouTube, you guys, for those of you who want to watch later on. You guys have the opportunity. Okay. So let's get on track. Okay. So today and every Thursday, it's your weekly dose of high vibe, forward thinking, and revolutionary content that encourages you to discover the passions that lead you to your purpose. And you guys know I do this every single Thursday because I want to inspire you guys to just reach for the stars and reach for what really motivates and drives you and what you're passionate about. And today's topic, speaking of passion, is love. Love. And that's why I have my very special guest, Heatherparis, because we're going to dig into the hype around self-love, the truth about long-lasting relationships, and how to allow love to flow while you're building your empire, which we both have done successfully. So thank you, Heather, for joining me.
Thank you.
I also mentioned, I didn't mention it this time, but she's also a yogi. So
Yes,
hopefully she will bring the voice of reason as well as being a family coach and a relationship coach. So thank you again. All right, so today we want to just dig in a little bit right away. I don't want to make this a long one. It's probably going to be at least, probably 30 minutes max, just because I want to give you guys an opportunity to go enjoy your Valentine's Day, which is what you should be doing today, right?
absolutely.
So first, tell me what you've done today, because I know your hubby posted something a little funny earlier. So
Oh my God. So yeah, he got all saucy on Facebook, right? Um,
just a little, just a little.
so, okay. So my husband is the cook in our house and we're vegan and he makes the most amazing vegan meals and he makes his own vegan meat. Like he's become this amateur vegan chef, right? And so he made me a sandwich, like, I don't know, 2 weeks ago. And it was the best sandwich, the best thing I've ever had in my mouth. I loved it. And so I called it the Thadnator. And so now I tell him pretty much every day, I want the Thadnator. And this whole sandwich, the only thing it consists of, it's like basically it's like a grilled cheese with vegan sausage on it. So I don't know if you've had the Beyond sausage, girl. It tastes exactly like sausage. It is so good.
Yeah.
So he like grills up a vegan sausage and puts it in the middle of a grilled cheese sandwich, and it's like the best thing in the world. So that was my Valentine's. Sausage sandwich. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love it. That's wonderful. So I know what happened.
I was going to say, we don't really celebrate Valentine's Day, actually, but, so we make a little joke about it. But So I got my sausage sandwich, but really, we don't really actually celebrate Valentine's.
So I want to get into that a little bit, and then I'll tell you what I did for my Valentine's Day so far. Okay, and then I have a quick story for you, but I want you to tell people why you don't celebrate Valentine's Day.
Yeah, so we don't celebrate we just decided a long time ago not to celebrate Valentine's Day because we made a commitment when we got married, not being wasn't a first marriage for either one of us. And so we made a commitment to like make every single day Valentine's Day. And so the only day is not Valentine's Day is actually Valentine's Day, if that makes sense. So we don't do anything special or out of the ordinary because we try to do special, amazing things for each other, like literally all year round. I mean, we get remarried every year on our anniversary. I get flowers all the time. It's a beautiful thing, and it's just for no reason at all. We make time for each other every day, every week, every month. We go away together. We do things together. And it's not always like big lavish things. It's, little things every single day. And so because we keep that up and we have for over 8 years, like what's Valentine's Day? It's every day. Every day is Valentine's Day over here.
And I'm so glad that you said that, because one of the reasons, besides loving to have you on my show, and you're like the perfect guest for this particular episode, is because I've been asked personally by people I know do an episode on relationships and how to keep it fresh and moving over time. Because I know people who've also been married for like decades, Mm-hmm. So that's one of the questions we're going to get into. So thank you for clarifying your reasoning.
Sure.
So I love celebrating Valentine's Day, but so here's my thing, right? I celebrate all the time as well.
Right.
Because I grew up celebrating. So I literally, I'm in the middle of a big project right now, and every chance I get, I celebrate every milestone of the accomplishment. So yes, Valentine's Day is amazing and it's great. And I did get my son a couple of things, and he got me something too. And that for me was a personal lesson for him to know how to share love.
Yeah.
It wasn't just because it was Valentine's Day. Like, we get stuff for each other, all the time, or as much as I can. And I take him places, kind of like what you do with that. I take him places, I set up activities, I do things. And you guys know, because you see me on Facebook, I'm always taking him somewhere. So I'm telling the truth. And I just actually took him to a paint day this past
I saw that on Facebook. That looked awesome.
So much fun. And actually inspired a couple of other parents to take their kids. And actually, I saw a couple of single moms with their kids there. So I was like, oh, shoot. People have the right idea.
Can I interrupt for a second, too? And I'm sure you know this already, but that's one of the things, as you know, my kids are all older now, but for those who don't know me, so I've raised 10 kids, essentially, 3 mine, 3 my stepkids, 4 that didn't belong to either one of us, that we just took in. But so we've had a hand in raising a lot of kids. And one of the things that we do for all of our kids for every single birthday is we don't buy presents. We go and do amazing things. So, we've gone on trips. We've taken Harry out to VidCon in California, Carrie to New York City. I mean, we just do amazing things. I took my stepdaughter, Maddie, to see the Cake Boss down in Jersey. All these amazing things, trips, shows, whatever. And, it doesn't have to be something expensive and elaborate, but I just think that experiences shared are far more valuable than presents that'll end up in the donate pile in 6 months. So.
Yes. And can I tell you something that I'm going to do really special this year with my son?
What's that?
I'm so excited. I'm going to take him to London for the first time, his first real international trip. And again, no reason, just because I want him to experience something different. And it's not something that kids typically do at this age and whatever, right? I want him to know, to experience, to have fun, and to know what it's like to get out of New York. Because the funny thing, right, and you know this, most of the people in the U.S., a lot of people, I can't say most, but a lot of people in the U.S. just don't travel. They don't even travel interstate, let alone intercontinental, right?
I know. Yeah. Yeah, I
So
know people that haven't traveled out of New York, and I'm like blown away by that. Like, what do you mean you haven't traveled out of New York? Like, you've never flown on a plane? Like, I mean, I get it. You know, it's not for everybody, but I don't know. I'm a traveler like you, so.
yes,
Mhm.
absolutely. Fun times. Okay. So I want to tell a quick story about something that happened to me right before I came here. So we
Yeah,
were
I
having
want to hear the story.
so we were having some technical issues before I came, but I also came on a little bit late because so my mom took a spill yesterday. She actually fell on black ice. And you guys know that we've been having snow, and especially Heather, because Heather's up in the Syracuse area, so she's up there. She was out late last night running some errands. She slipped on ice and thought she cracked a rib. She didn't want to go to the hospital. She stayed like home overnight, couldn't barely move in the morning. Anyway, the point is, I just went to visit her right before I came on to chat with Heather, and my dad was home, and I walked into his room, and I saw like his eyes were beaming, and I was like, what's going on, guys? Like, did I miss something? I know it's Valentine's Day, but what just happened, right? Um, don't tell me. So anyway, so I go in the living room where my mom is, and I see this beautiful bouquet of flowers. And I'm like, oh wow, mom, because my mom buys herself flowers all the time. I buy my mom flowers all the time, so it's nothing unusual. But I was like, wow, mom, that's a beautiful bouquet. Did you buy it for yourself? And she's like, no, your father bought it for me. Now my
Ooh.
father is not a gift giver like that.
Yeah.
He just didn't grow up like that. My mom was always the gift giver. So the fact that he did this was like a big deal. So I actually went over there and I was like, oh my God, Dad, like huge hug, right? Like we want to promote good behavior.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was just giving him props, like, yes, we wanted that to continue, like, keep doing that. And maybe it was probably because she was injured. Maybe it's partly because it was Valentine's Day. I don't know what it was. But I think also what I realized, and this is on the topic of love, which is why I even mention it, is because love is about giving. It's not just about receiving. And what I realized as to why his eyes were beaming and why he was so like animated is because my mom fell, he had to help her. Usually he's the one that's helped because my dad has all these illnesses and all this stuff going on. So my mom is usually the one serving him, like seriously 99% of the time, right? So the fact that he actually, like the opposite was happening, that he had to serve her and he had to help her. He literally had to help her get out of bed, like all these different, because she literally couldn't move,
Right.
And I felt like he was a different person. Like his eyes were, I'm telling you, like stars were in his eyes. He bought her, like it was a whole different level.
That's sweet.
Yeah, so I want you to talk a little bit about that too, because I feel like that's what love is about. Love isn't about presence. It's about giving, but not necessarily, physical, monetary. It's about giving your time. It's about service. It's about contributing to someone's life in a way that serves them, not yourself, So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. I love that you asked that too, and I love that story. And I'm like hugging your dad too right now. Yeah, I mean, as you know, I'm all about service. Like my whole life, Thad too, my husband Thad, where our life is literally dedicated to service. It's funny too because we were volunteering at a church like 2 weekends ago. Like they have a pancake breakfast type thing, so we were there volunteering. And Thad makes the pancakes, and I serve like the meals I bring the pancakes out to the people so they don't have to get up and walk, right, and do it. So whatever. So we're serving pancakes, and the pastor comes in, and Thad has been to that church before for this, but I hadn't. And so he introduced himself and this and that. So he says, well, what do you do? And I said, well, we just pretty much like serve. He's like, well, what do you mean? I said, well, we just like, I mean, we have jobs and stuff, but we just like to serve. We like to, donate our time. And he's like, well, what do you do? Like, what else do you do? And I told him the things that we do. And I think he was genuinely confused. Like, I think he was like, what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean you just serve? Well, we serve, and I told him what we did. I'm like, well, I'm a life coach. I have, I'm also a coach trainer, and Thad does firewalk and whatever. And he's like, but what's this about service? And I'm like, I had to explain it to the pastor of the church like 3 times. Like, we serve, like, we're just going to come here and just help, like, for free, right? That's what we do. And he's like, oh, that's really nice. But I almost felt like he was a little like leery, like, what do you mean you're just going to come help us? You know what I mean? It was so weird. So,
and I would say, if I may add something, that oftentimes people serve more when they're retired. So the fact that you're a young couple, not retired and serving, is probably what was like.
Well,
what?
Yeah, and that's a really good point too, because we probably were some of the youngest people there. You're absolutely right. But you know, it's for Thad and I, like, that's another thing that we decided when we got together. Like, I'm all about service. He loves that kind of stuff. And so we got involved in service projects, in donating and helping our community. So now as a coach trainer, you know, I train people to become coaches and do what I do. And as a coach trainer in my training school, I required people to give of their time in order to graduate. Like, you can't graduate from my program unless you're willing to donate 1 hour a month. And I don't care what that hour is. You could go sit with an elderly neighbor for an hour and just keep them company. I don't care what it is. But you have to do something, because I believe in being a giver, not a go-getter, right? So that's just always been my mentality, and our kids are like that too. So all of our kids donate, all of our kids serve. You know, it's just, that's the first thing I ask couples too. Like, when anyone comes into my office, whether it's for couples coaching or whatever, I say, that's like one of the very first questions: where do you volunteer? And half of the time they look at me like, what are you talking about? I'm like, where do you volunteer? Oh, did I say I volunteered? I don't volunteer. I'm like, well, that's half your damn problem. Because if you volunteered and focused on other people and you gave love out into the world, you'd hardly have time to think about anything that was lacking in your own world. Yeah. And I really, truly, I know you know the story, I really, truly believe that's how Thad and I got together. Because I was done, girl, done. Did not want to be in a relationship, already been divorced, done that. And I said, you know, I'm just going to focus on helping other people and giving love, 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 love. Like, I woke up every single day and said, how much love can I pour into this world? How can I help and serve people? And because of that, Thad was delivered literally to my doorstep. And we'll talk about that another time, because it's a long story. But literally, she showed, like, literally at my doorstep. I met him for the first time in my house on my doorstep. So that happened because I was so focused on giving love out into the world that it was attracted back to me.
I love this story. Love.
Yeah, so that's, I mean, I tell everybody, I don't care what the problem is, whether it's a bad relationship, a stub toe, or you hate your job, go out and volunteer, because it's guaranteed to change the energy that you're surrounding yourself in. And if you change your energy, you'll change your life.
Yes. And if I may add, on the purpose-driven side, I talk a lot about this too, which is, the more you serve and the more you contribute to the world, the more you also receive. And it's not giving to receive, it's actually genuinely giving and contributing of yourself to the world, which grows your own heart and grows your love and grows your ability to receive. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't work like, you can't get, give to receive. It doesn't work like that, because then there's always like a hidden agenda, right?
Right.
It has to be like a free-flowing, I want to give, I want to, contribute something to the world, which also gives you meaning, which for me as a purpose coach, I talk about a lot, because it's meaningful. And I guess regarding relationships, which you can probably agree to, it brings meaning to the relationship, more meaning to the relationship, because now it's not just about the two of you, it's about the two of you serving and bringing meaning to what you're doing together as a couple and putting that out into the world. Right? Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, we have a mission. We have a mission in our family, and our business, but also like as a couple. So, this year Thad has endeavored to serve 600 meals this year. That we buy. We're affiliated with a health and wellness company, so we buy the meal replacement bars, and then so one meal replacement bar is one meal. So he wants to give 600 meals out this year to homeless people. And he's already started on that journey, and that's something that we can do together. And I mean, yeah, you can't, if you grow in love like that, you're never like you're divorced. Who's going to divorce somebody that like feeds homeless people? I mean, really, come on, you're going to divorce proof your relationship because you're serving a higher purpose.
Absolutely. I love it. Love the story.
And you can't help but be happy. I mean, look at your dad, right? He was just absolutely glowing because he had some purpose.
I'm telling you. And you know, like, honestly, I think it's amazing when people retire that they end up volunteering and doing all this stuff. But make sure that when you do it, it's coming out of a place of servitude and not a place of boredom.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because the worst thing is to feel like you're just satisfying your need by doing this work, which will happen anyway. But
yeah, I was just going to say, even if that's what gets you started, there's no way you can serve and not somehow turn that into like a great big grateful heart, you know?
Absolutely. But it definitely helps when it's something that is connected more to you. You know what I mean? Like it's something that's meaningful to you. Right?
Yeah.
And that you can then give to other people. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So let's get into some other topics. So I wanted to talk a little bit about self-love because I know there's been a lot of coaches out there talking about you have to love yourself first. And I totally understand and I agree.
I have 2 stories for that.
Oh, goody.
Yeah.
So here's the question. So what do you think about self-love and how can we make it happen for ourselves? Is the hype real?
Yeah. So, okay, I'm all about self-love and I'm all about self-care and all that stuff. But I've also become militant about it. So here's how. I don't know what made me think this, but somehow like, here's what it was. Okay, so Thad on his phone, he had a picture of me as his wallpaper. So like there's Thad and I, you know, but he had just my face, right? And he had a picture of me from 2 years ago before I had lost the 47 pounds. So I see that picture and I'm like, ugh, really? You have to have the picture of the fat me? And so I got thinking about that. I'm like, you know, what an asshole I am. Oh, can I swear? I hope so. What an asshole I am to insult my husband's wife. Like how ignorant. You know, I mean, it's one thing it's bad enough to screw with yourself, but if you have to think about what you're doing to somebody else, like basically you're saying, so if I say something negative, oh, I don't like that fat picture, or I'm having a bad hair day, I'm telling my husband that he chose wrong, or that his wife is ugly, or that his wife is not worthy, or something like that. And I just thought like how ignorant that is. And I said, you know, I'm never going to do that again. Not even just for me, but for him, because that's mean. So I'm not going to do that. And then the second story is also that goes with your kids too. Like, how dare you insult your child's mother or your child's father? You know what I mean? And let me tell you something too. And I tell this to all the single moms that I work with. I was a single mom. You're a single mom. We know what it's like, right? If you stand in the mirror in front of your kids and say, ugh, I hate my hips. Ugh, I don't like my eyes. Ugh, my hair is too whatever. You're basically you're teaching your daughter how to see herself or your son, right? Don't do it. If you're going to self-deprecate, at least keep it in your head until you can get rid of it completely, right? So that's that self-love. And then the second thing that I was thinking about this week was I teach a meditation for kids class. And so after meditation, these moms, I mean, they love it. They're so thrilled. These kids are getting some amazing stuff out of it. It's fantastic. Couldn't have wished for anything better. So these moms are like throwing money at me. Here, whatever you did, it's amazing. Take my money, right? And so I was talking to one of the moms. I'm like, maybe we need to have a mom's class, you know? And she said, yeah, well, you know, I'll pay for my kid to go, but I'm not gonna do that for myself. And I got thinking, like, are you freaking kidding me? And I hear that actually all the time. People will say, well, I'll just do a kids class or I'll do a kids this because the parents will pay for their kids to go. The parents will pay for their kids to go to karate, dance, piano lessons, meditation classes, whatever it is. But they won't go for 1 hour a week to take care of themselves. They don't understand that they're the role model. So you can put your kid in every single class in the world, but if you stand in front of that mirror in front of your kid and you don't say something nice about yourself, you're undoing everything that you're putting into your kid. So yeah, you've got to invest in yourself. And whether it's $10 to go to a meditation class, or whether it's just, you know, I don't know, looking at yourself and saying, wow, I really like my hair today. It's so pretty. What do you think, sweetie?
Absolutely.
Whatever it is, that's self-love. It's not something like, oh, you know, I'm going to read all sorts of books and learn to love myself. It's just, even if you don't love yourself, pretend that you do. Because I guarantee after you pretend long enough, you're going to start to think differently about yourself.
Absolutely.
And if you don't do it for yourself, do it for your husband, your wife, your spouse, your kids, your friends. Because even friends, I can't stand being around people that are constantly self-deprecating. Honestly, I really can't. That's why I'm friends with amazing people like Teany, because she's beautiful and confident and smart. I can't stand being around people that are always like, oh, I look so ugly. Oh, I don't like this. Oh, I don't want to go anywhere. I shouldn't. I can't. I do. Ugh.
Yes. Not to mention that you tend to become like the closest people you hang out with. So
Amen.
imagine hanging out with people who are always self-deprecating, right?
Yeah.
And I agree with you. It's an example that you show your children. So one thing that I do, I just wanted to mention this because you mentioned children. And it's funny because I did not learn this from my mom. And actually, it's because I didn't learn it from my mom that I ended up doing it. It was kind of like reverse psychology for me.
Yeah.
Because she was such a hard worker, and I say hard worker in quotes, because she could have been a smart worker, but she was a hard worker.
Right, right.
And it's something that got passed on from, like, you know, decades of like family stuff, right? And I became a hard worker too. But then as I saw her over time, and I saw how, like, not raggedy, but she was just like, you know, using up all her energy all the time and going to sleep at 2:00. And I thought to myself, oh, hell no, that is not going to be me. So now, like, I do things. I go out by myself. I leave my son with my parents, or with, you know, close friends and people that he enjoys to spend time with. But I tell him, like, don't even try to think that you are coming with me.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Try to take up mommy time. This is mommy's time, you know? And I do it very often. I do it, like, I would say at least every other week, maybe sometimes even more, just because I work really hard during the week. So I have to play even harder because I have to refill, you know? And I do stuff with him all the time, which also fills me up. So it's not like I'm just doing things alone. I'm also, like, you know, bringing him with me so he can see that we can have fun together too. It's not just mommy doing stuff on her own, you know?
Yeah, of course. Of course. And that's why you are such an amazing mom, because you do take care of your son and yourself.
Absolutely. Amen, sister.
Martyrs don't make good anything, really.
No. And you're not serving anybody by reducing your energy level and giving of yourself in order to just serve. That doesn't serve you. And it's almost like, what is Ian Levan? You know Ian Levanzan? She's one of Oprah's girls. She says, if you don't fill your cup and you give someone of your cup, that means that they're stealing from you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know what I say? Me, we, us. I have a saying called me, we, us. Me first. Not like if your kids, you know, broke their leg and needs to go to the hospital, obviously. But just in the day-to-day, it's me first, we next, and then us is the family. Me, then us, we, my husband and I, because if there is no us, then Thad and I, then there is no us. There is no family. So me, we, us.
Absolutely.
In that order. And, you know, me could start with God if you're a person that believes in God. Me first, because that's my time that I spend with God, right? With my in prayer, or whatever it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Agreed. So I'm going to skip to another question before we get to the business question, just because I know we're on the topic of relationships with our families and our kids and all that stuff. Yeah. And one of the questions and one of the reasons why I wanted to put this together is because people are asking about long-term relationships. Now, I know that you've been together with that, but I know you've also had other relationships. But this relationship is very special because you also have, like you said, joint children and children that weren't even yours.
Yeah.
You helped raise. So I think you kind of are the perfect person to ask, because there have been so many variables.
Yeah.
And, you know, in most relationships, you know, you have work, obviously, that takes time. You have other family members and you have children, etc. But you have you know, each other. You have your extended family, additional kids, you have a business, he works. Like there's a whole lot more going on. So my question to you, which has been a question that has been asked, is how do you keep things alive? How do you guys continue? And I guess we kind of partially answered it because, you know, it's you first, and then we, and then us. But I want you to get into a little bit more of the details of how do you keep things going between each other when you have all these variables to contend with?
Yeah, well, it definitely starts with me, we, us, right? Thad loves the fact that, and I love it about him too, but he loves the fact that I take care of myself and that I don't need him. Now, do I count on him? Absolutely, 100%. And he does on me too. But we can be independent and do things, you know what I mean? Like I can run the house, like I've always run the household. I've always taken care of the kids. We came to agreements about who handles what. He does his things, I do my things. And, you know, we can count on each other. There's not like a dependence, like you know, we talk about the adult and the child. There's not an adult child. It's two adults, two grown-ups, right, in a relationship together. So it's definitely the me, we, us thing. And then the second thing is like sustainability. People, you know, you hear sustainability all the time. It's got to be sustainable. What's sustainable? How about relationship sustainability? There's got to be that. Like when you're first getting into a relationship with somebody and you're going, well, I just don't, you know, everything else is perfect, but I just don't like this one thing. Well, guess what? If that one thing is going to, you know, that's not going to be sustainable over the long haul, get out now. Like, don't even, you know, it has to be sustainable. And then the third thing is that we make a time commitment. And it sounds, somebody got all snarky up on my post today because I said, I don't remember what it was, something about prioritizing your relationship. Relationships aren't complicated. They're easy. You just prioritize each other. And somebody got all up on there and was like, it's not about prioritizing. It's about love. What about love? That's what prioritizing is. Love isn't a feeling. Love is something that you do. And so every single day we wake up and we show up. We wake up, we show up. We wake up, we show up. When shit hits the fan, we lean in because frankly, at this point, we're too scared to do it without each other. You know what I mean? And we like militantly guard our time. So like I said, it's time management. I hate that so many things boil down to time management, but it does. If you're using your time poorly, you're not gonna be able to maintain relationships either. So Thad and I have this thing, besides the me, we, us, I have this thing that like the relationship quotient, quadrant. I don't know what the hell you call it, but yeah, 1 hour a day, 1 day a week, and 1 weekend a month. If you spend that much time, minimum, now you can do more, but that's a minimum. If you spend that much time with your partner, 1 hour a day, 1 day a week, 1 weekend a month, your relationship's going to be amazing. So when Thad works out of town, he calls me while he's driving, you know, we'll talk for an hour. Sometimes if he's away on a business trip or something, and we can only talk on the phone, that's fine, whatever it is. But every single day we have a minimum of an hour. Now, Thad and I go way, way more than an hour. This is my best friend too, so we do everything together. And then 1 day a week, we have a date night. Sometimes it's a date breakfast. It doesn't have to be a night, but it has to be a period of time, like a 4-hour period block of time that you have scheduled for time together alone, without kids, without distraction, whatever. And then 1 week in a month. Now, that doesn't mean you have to spring for a big fancy hotel or a bed and breakfast in, you know, Nantucket. It just means that this weekend you've set aside to do stuff together. Maybe you go hiking. Maybe you ride a bike together. I don't know. Maybe you just lock yourself in your bedroom and don't let the kids in and watch Netflix all day. I don't care what it is, but you do something together, right?
I love that.
Yeah. So, I mean, there was a time when Thad and I first got together, there was a time when we had 7 children in the house. His three, yeah, and most of them were teenagers. His 3, my 3, and then we were caring for a child that didn't belong to either one of us. 7 kids, 9 people in the house. Let me tell you, and one of the kids' special needs, who was much, much younger at the time, so we couldn't leave him alone. there were times where our dates were just go in our bedroom and lock the door, and we're going to sneak chocolate up there or Chinese food, whatever, and we're going to watch TV, and we're going to, or, you know, sometimes we would play Yahtzee, you know. I know it sounds stupid. Maybe it's not super exciting, but when you have 7 kids in the house, you got to do what you got to do, right? So, oh, I taught him how to play gin rummy. So we haven't played gin rummy or Yahtzee in a really long time. We should do that. But
I love that. I think so,
really, you prioritize.
You said so many things, and I just want to border on a couple. One of them is, which you just mentioned, which is, and I do with my son as well. And so I want to just say that this is relationship 101 stuff, because it's not just the kind of stuff that you do with your partner. You can also do this with your closest kids, your friends, like whoever you consider a close person, you know, to your heart. So don't just think that all this stuff is just relevant, because I'm a single woman. I don't have a partner, but my son is my relationship, my closest relationship, you know? So I also do those things with him. And I love that 1 hour, 1 hour, 1 day a week, 1 weekend a month. I love that concept. It's just beautiful. And that borders on the third topic, which is time. It pisses me off so much when people say
I'm with you.
They don't have time.
I'm with you. It's a huge pet peeve of mine. I want to say, no, you don't make time. You don't make time.
Everybody gets the same 24 hours, whether it's Tony Robbins with like 20 companies, or the teacher that's a single mom. We all get the same amount of time. And I wish people would separate in your shoes or in my shoes, because I mean, as a single mom, I have my day job, I have my business, I take care of my son, I'm the head of household, I'm the chef, I'm the one who cleans up, I'm the one who does everything.
Right.
So don't tell me that there's no time. The difference, if I may, and you can add to this as well, is that I don't bitch about it.
Preach it, girl. Preach it.
I just do it. Like, I swear I tell my mom this all the time. My mom is the complainaholic. She's like, oh my God, I'm so busy all the time. I got 50 things. I'm like, Mom, I wish, you know, for the amount of time that you complain, you probably would gain at least an hour or two.
Right? I hope your mom doesn't watch Facebook.
No, she doesn't. She's not on. She turned it off. I tell her this all the time. Actually. I tell her this a lot. So yeah. I'm just saying, for the amount of time that you take to profess your victim story, use that time wisely, man. For me, every second is gold.
Exactly. Yep.
I don't know if you want to add to that. Yeah.
Yeah, I will add to that. I mean, people walk into my office, you know, as clients or whatever, and I'll say, let me see your phone. Give me your phone. Show me your calendar. You got nothing scheduled. That's why your life is a mess. You don't have anything scheduled. Oh, I'm going with the flow. I don't need to. Oh, let me tell you something. I'm the most go with the flow person I know. I am so non-rigid. I'm so like, whatever. I'm total go with the flow. I love that stuff. I don't like regimen, but I schedule stuff, because if you want to run a business, you got to schedule stuff, right? I mean, that's like, talk about business 101, relationship 101. This is 101. This is like the bare bones. If you're not scheduling crap, you're not going to be successful, period. And so, you know, I schedule out everything. I schedule out going to the gym. I schedule out my meetings. And that's not to say that even sometimes I don't have a conflict. Of course, everybody does. But imagine the conflicts if you're not scheduling stuff out like crazy. And I really think, like, if people would just do that one thing, schedule out your volunteer, and then schedule out everything in your day. That's it.
And I agree with that, because, I mean, for me, I actually, well, you know, I already mentioned, we love to plan exciting things, because I grew up like celebrating things, right?
Yeah.
So for me, every time I schedule something, it's like something I'm going to celebrate soon. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If I schedule a paint day with my son, it's something I have to look forward to, you know? So yeah. It gives you things to like take you through the day, take you through the week, take you through the month, whatever works for you. And it doesn't have to be something expensive, you know, it could be something like going out, you know, taking a walk with your kid, go, you know, ride a bike, whatever. Like, it doesn't have to be serious. But the moment that you schedule it, one, it becomes real, and two, it becomes something exciting to look forward to
Exactly.
with your partner. So I love that concept.
I even schedule my day off.
Oh, you have to.
Yeah.
People will book stuff on your calendar if you don't.
Exactly. I schedule my day off and I stick to it. And if I get a message, I ignore it, you know, and that's just it too. That's another thing too. Put down the damn phone. Oh my God. If you're working and you need your phone, sure, you need your phone. But there's times like if I'm with my man, whatever, I will put the phone down and away. It's just not that damn important. It's just not. There has to be a time where you're not on the phone. And Thad like does I forget what you call it, but you can schedule it like to go off on its maybe it is do not disturb. I don't know, but he's got it set so it like turns itself off from distractions.
Yeah. There's a D&D feature. I love that feature so much.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's like, listen, I live on my phone, and I mean that in a good way.
I do too.
Because I plan everything. And I tell you what, if you tell me we're going to do something together and I don't put it in my phone, it does not exist.
Exactly. I will not remember it.
I won't. And it's nothing personal. I have 10 million other things to think about. So.
I know. Exactly. I'm the same way. But I think that's really, if you're building an empire and you're trying to, there's no such thing as balance. This idea of finding balance is bullshit, really. I mean, nothing is balanced. Sometimes you have to go hard on your business because something happened or whatever. But you just always prioritize your relationship and you always schedule everything out in your business so that you have that time to do that, you know, so that you're not, that's what a lot of people do. That's why I tell like people getting into coaching, my coach students and stuff like that. I tell them a lot of times I have outlived so many coaches, and I know you have too, Teany. You and I are in the same, you know, been doing it for a while now. We've outlived a lot of coaches because they haven't been consistent, basically, because it's either feast or famine. They're go, 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 and then they like, I don't know, I got distracted, you know, and they don't have anything, and they're like, oh, it's not working anymore. I got to go do something else. And it's just because they haven't been consistent.
And that's true for relationships too, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you can't neglect your partner for 2 months and then Valentine's comes, oh, let me go out and buy everything that I can and think that that's going to make up. It might make them like feel really giddy for one damn day, but tomorrow, if you're not giving the same level of love to your partner tomorrow, you got a problem. You got a problem in your relationship.
Yep. And that leads me to my next point, because it's not just about giving and giving and giving all the time. It has to be the right thing for that person, you know? Because like, for example, my mom, bless her heart, she's not watching this, so I can talk about this. I love you, Mom. She loves to give the things that she loves.
Right.
I'm like, Mom, I mean, look, I love flowers and everything, but can you get me something else that I actually like better?
Yeah.
But she does this with everyone. Like, her gift is flowers and chocolate. And it's across the board, no matter what you like.
Yeah.
So you have to really, like, you know, it's like detective. You got to play detective with the relationships that you have, whether it's friendship, whether it's your son, whether it's your partner. Like, that's the fun part of relationships, like figuring out these little idiosyncrasies that these people like, you know, and being able to provide that to them and surprising them with it. That's the best part, you know? Yeah,
exactly. And that's the fun part too, trying to figure out what they like. Oh, hi. Oh, I see him.
They can't see him.
Oh, I can see him. Hey, kiddo, how are you? Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Aww. It's been a while. You are getting so big.
He is. He's like up to here. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's crazy.
Mommy's shrinking.
I know. Don't say that. I'm turning into grandma. How dare you?
Aww.
Okay. Anyway, all right, so let's wrap this up, because I promised everyone half an hour and we've gone over, but this is such a fun conversation that we just can't help ourselves.
I know, right? And I could talk forever, so yeah.
So I think we already bordered on some of the business part because obviously it's prioritization, it's timing, it's scheduling things appropriately when you need to schedule them. It's being able to basically manage everything because you plan for it appropriately, right?
Yeah, right.
Anything else you want to add to that from a business perspective?
No, I mean, I would just say, like, really, honestly, I mean, business is important. If you own your own business, be militant with your schedule, prioritize your time, and be consistent. And if you do that, if you just do those three things, you will literally, you can't help but be successful. Like, unless you're selling garbage, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you're going to be successful because you're going to outlast everyone else.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like, when I was in real estate a million years ago, I really firmly believed there's no bad market. There is no bad market. There's either, a great market, or then there's a market where you have to just change what you're doing, maybe do something different, whatever. But there's always a market. There's always people that need help. I'm a coach. There's always families in crisis, no matter what. If you're a hairdresser, there's always people with hair, right? If you own a restaurant, there's always people that need to eat. I mean, there's really no bad market. You just have to change your marketing. So.
Absolutely agreed. All right, so are there any other tips you want to offer people on a day like today, on Valentine's Day, about love and about relationships?
Yeah, so for your relationships, I would say to just really start commit to time with your partner, like that 1 hour a day, 1 day a week, and 1 weekend a month. And if you do that, like, consistently, you're going to start to like the one you love again. Everyone's in love. Oh, I love him. I love him. Why do you say I love him? I love him. I love him. But do you like him? Because you need to be in proximity. You need to have time together to like each other. You can love somebody and not like them.
Absolutely.
So learn to like the one you love again. Then your relationship will feel amazing.
I love that. That's a tweetable.
It's a tweetable. I made it tweetable.
Let me write that. Like the one you love.
I made it tweetable. I feel so excited.
There it is. You see it?
Oh, I see it. Wow. I'm going to screenshot this. All right, smile. I screenshotted. I'm so high tech.
Awesome. I love it. Okay, so before we go, I want you to just tell people, I know that you're a relationship coach, so tell people what you do and how they can find you.
Yeah, so I am a coach. I coach families, couples, and kids in crisis, and you can find me at liveinspirednow.com. I'm on Facebook. I'm on every platform there is, but if you go to liveinspirednow.com, my website, you can reach me in any of those platforms.
Excellent. Oh my God, thank you so much for joining us.
And it's always so much fun.
And for instilling us with your relationship and love wisdom.
Aw, it's always so fun to talk to you.
Yes. And I know we're gonna do this again, so I want to cut it short because we can tell like a million stories, because I know we have it in us.
I know. Okay, so hold it before we go. Next time, now this is gonna ensure that you invite me back. Next time, I got to tell you about the time I met Aerosmith.
Oh, we got to talk about that. All right, Aerosmith story done. Done deal. We got to talk about it. Excellent. You're on. All right. So if you like this video, like it. And subscribe on YouTube, because I'm about to post it on YouTube as well. And obviously share it. If you know anyone who needs relationship help or who needs to have just a little bit more love in their lives, just share it and share the love, basically. So
sharing is caring.
Thank you, Heatherparis.
Thank you, Teany.
Love you to pieces.
Love you.
And I love you all. Thank you. This is Teany Hidalgo and Heatherparis. And this is a purpose-driven revolution encouraging you to pursue the passions that will lead you to your purpose. I will see you all next Thursday, and I'll see you on the phone, Heather.
Bye.
Bye, guys. And type any questions you have for her below. She would be happy to answer you, all right? Talk to you guys soon. Bye, y'all.